Hello, and thank you for joining us today in our study of the book of Psalms. I apologize that we've not had any new videos for a few days, but you see, my grandmother passed away a few days ago, and I have been dealing with things pertaining to that. But even before that, she had had a stroke, and my family and I were helping to take care of her and watch over her last few days. And I don't like doing a lot of extra videos ahead of time because I'm going through this study with you. And so, day by day, as these videos are posted, I'm going through this study at the same time you are. And so, it's somewhat fitting in the midst of everything that's been going on in my life right now that we are at the point where we come to Psalm 23. Oftentimes, this is one of the most used psalms at funerals for individuals who have passed. And yet, as you examine the contents of this psalm, it's not a psalm of death, it's a psalm of life. And so, let's take a few moments and examine what may be the most famous psalm of them all. It's only 6 verses long, but boy, there's a lot that's said in here. Let's look at Psalm 23. Beginning in verse 1, we read, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Here the picture is shown of the Lord as our shepherd. Now, by extension, that means we are the sheep. We are the people of his flock. And as such, there are certain qualities and characteristics that are discussed both from the standpoint of the shepherd, but that are implied from the perspective of the sheep. Let me show you what I mean. When you begin the psalm, David talks about the fact that the Lord is a shepherd who leads. He says in verses 1 and 2, "I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters." So the shepherd is one who leads his sheep, and the Lord, as our shepherd, is our leader. The Lord is the one who leads us to where we are supposed to go. He directs us as to what we are supposed to do. But by extension, that also means for us that we follow. Because a leader is absolutely worthless if the ones that he is leading are unwilling to follow him. And so the Lord, as our shepherd, is intended to be our leader. But he can only be that leader if we are willing to follow. It's amazing to me how many people want to talk about the Lord as their shepherd, and then they want to argue with and complain and go against every direction he tries to lead them because they want to go their own way. If that's the way we're living our life, the Lord is not our shepherd. The Lord is trying to be our shepherd, but he cannot lead one who is unwilling to follow. The second thing that you notice from Psalm 23 is that he says, "He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." The shepherd doesn't just lead, the shepherd protects his flock. And that's what the Lord does for us. He watches over us. He protects those who are his. And so he talks about the fact, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." Though, and keep this in mind of the picture that is that is being painted, that this particular valley is a valley that is close to death. It's not death itself, it's the valley of the shadow of death, right at the cusp of death, in places that are very dangerous, in places that are very treacherous. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because you are with me. How many times do we face difficult or treacherous or dangerous circumstances and we act as though we are alone in the choices that we make and in the things that we think about in the midst of it? If the Lord is our shepherd, we're not alone. And even if we're going through difficult or through treacherous times, He is there to guide us if we're willing to follow Him. I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The idea of the rod and the staff being the guide marker in one sense, but also the means of protection in the other. They should give comfort to us to know that God is watching out for us, that He cares about us, and that He will take care of us. But then in the third place, in verses 5 and 6, you have the fact that the Lord provides. He says, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You see, not only does the shepherd lead, and not only does the shepherd protect, the shepherd also provides. He provides goodness and mercy. He provides a table to eat. He provides sustenance even in the face of enemies. He provides hope. All of these things the Lord provides to His flock. He also provides a place of rest. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. But only if we are His sheep. You see, He's trying to lead us as our shepherd. He is trying to get us to that place where He is, that place of rest, that place that He has prepared. But we have to remain with the shepherd. We have to remain as a part of His flock. So if the Lord is our shepherd and He leads, we have to follow. And if we want the Lord's protection, we've got to remain with the Lord. We have got to be willing to be where He is and to remain with Him. And if we do those things, as Abraham would talk about to Isaac in Genesis chapter 22, the Lord will provide, because the Lord is our shepherd. These are some of the things that I see in Psalm 23. I hope that they are beneficial to you. Next time, we will come back and we will begin looking at Psalm 24. I hope that you'll join us then. And thank you for continuing in our studies through the book of Psalms. Until then, have a great day.